Hello everyone, welcome to my video, a video about VEEP, the Veterans Electrical Entry Program. I have a little note there to keep me on track. But what is this video about? And who's it for? Really, this is for someone who was like me a few months ago when I was trying to find out how to become an electrician, right? I'm currently still in the military and I'm transitioning out, but I was like that a few months ago as well, but I didn't have the entry that I have now. I'm currently in the VEP program with acceptance letter, and all I have to do is complete the course and transition out and I'm good. And the reason that I am doing this video is because the process of finding out about VEEP was not an easy or it was easy. It's not hard, physically hard or anything, but it took more effort than it should have, and not in any way because the VEEP program is like hiding, but because at least the resources that I had here in Japan, where I'm at, the resources were not available to me to even find out about it. So I knew I wanted to be an electrician months and months ago, about a month before I even found VEEP, let's say. And I thought, oh, there's probably some kind of way that I can use my military service to my benefit, or maybe try and use a military program. And I don't want to continue talking forever and ever, but I reached out to the resources, the military resources, the government resources that I had here, and talked with them about it. And all they could really, they couldn't really do anything but send me to Helmets to Hard Hats, which is a great website, but it isn't where you need to go first. You do have to eventually sign up there, but that's not at all going to get you into the VEEP program by going to Helmets to Hard Hats. I ended up I messaged many training locations, IBEW locations, because obviously wanted to join the union. And I talked with them, and I was in Japan, so I can't meet them in person. So I'm talking with everyone, like all these different places, even places I don't even want to live, right? But I'm talking to them to try, because I knew I wanted to be an electrician. I'll live in a desert, or I'll live underwater if I can be an electrician, But one of them, actually, and this was Virginia. She was in Virginia. She was a training director in Virginia. She said, "No, we can't take we can't interview you and do all these things when you're over in Japan. It has to be in person. However, there is a government program called VEEP, at least a government-sponsored program, something that the IBEW works with, and that's kind of what she mentioned, and she sent a link, and it's at intoveep.com. So India November 2 VEEP, Victor Echo Echo Papa.com, intoveep.com. And once I hit that, I was off to the races. And once you get there, it's a pretty easy process, but I'll talk about it. However, getting there, finding it out was harder than expected, because I didn't know it was a thing. I had no idea. So VEEP, Veterans Electrician Entry Program. There we go. What is it? So let's explain very quickly, as you probably already know or maybe have a little idea of. If you want to be an electrician apprentice for the IBEW, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, what you need to do is go through a process, right? An apprenticeship, it's a 4 to 5 year process, and same for me when I get in. So everyone has to go through that, a 4 to 5 year process, and you are working, but also go to classes periodically throughout. For 4 to 5 years, there's hours that you have to meet, requirements, but you're getting paid to do all this. So that beats all of these, hey, let me go to trade school, let me go to college, right? If you want to be an electrician, that's not the path, and you're getting paid for it. Again, trade school, that might give you a leg up on your resume, let's say, on the interview, but that's on your package, but that's not going to get you into, you're not going to be an electrician when you come out of it. You need to go through an apprenticeship. So the apprenticeship, everyone, you're not in the military, you are, I don't know, you got out of college and you realize that you don't want to do that job, or you drop out of college, who knows, and you want to be an electrician. Good, great, love it. You go to the IBEW, you submit in your local IBEW chapter, you put in an application, and then your application gets seen however long later, who knows, quicker in some places than others. They bring you in, you do a math aptitude test and a reading comprehension test in the same. It takes a few hours. Great. Based off of those scores, you are now in a list of other hopeful apprentices who they will now interview you if you pass, and now based off of your score. And then now you're interviewed by a panel of 3 or more, usually current IBEW members. And they interview you, you have a packet, it's like a full job interview, right? On why you should be an apprentice, let's say. And after that's done, now you're ranked with all the others, right? And depending on how long the list is, right, you might not hear word back for months, right? This is a long, long process for you even to be put in. So imagine me, I want to be an electrician, and you probably as well, wanting to be an electrician, wanting to get out of the military, and then wanting a job on day one if you can. And me, a year out, I'm already trying to put my ducks in a row, and I find out that, oh no, I'm in Japan, or for yourself, you might be on the other side of the country from where you're trying to apply. You want to go back home, you know, who knows, or you want to go live in Washington or something, right? You always wanted to live there. And you realize, oh, all of this stuff really needs to be in person, and I don't have to leave for it. I don't have the ability to leave the command. Who knows? And who knows when they're going to draw you. So it's not like you can take 2 weeks of leave and have everything set up and then go back home. That's not how it is. You don't know how long it's going to take for all this. So knowing that, I was very frustrated and not happy, and it's not the IBEW's fault. That's just how it is. It's just the circumstances of life. You're in the military. You know all about, if you've deployed, if you've gone somewhere, you know all about the hardships and circumstances of life and how they get in the way of your happiness or of your future. But you got to make do, right? So you got to keep digging, which is what I did and what countless others before me have done as well. But it seems a few of them have put anything on YouTube, sadly. So that's what this is for, right? Anyways, that's to say and to explain and all this. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be confined by the limitations of your location and the limitations of where you're at, right? What can you do? That's where VEEP comes in. So VEEP, and I always describe it to those who ask, family, friends, anyone I'm trying to sell it to, right? Which I'm not actively going out other than this, but I do sell it a lot when talking about it. I call it the golden ticket. Wonka, you get that ticket in the chocolate bar and you gain entry to this beautiful, beautiful once in a lifetime chance to do something great, right? And that's how I see this. You get to get this entry to a program, and you have what VEEP is a pre-apprenticeship program, and depending on how you do it, which there are some that are all in person, some that are mostly online, but then you spend the last few weeks in person somewhere, or what I'm doing since I'm in Japan is an all online course. Now, what decides how which one you can do? Time of year and who's hosting the locations, the courses. They're called cohorts, right? And they're hosted. Mine is by San Bernardino and Riverside. There's Los Angeles is the biggest one. Then there's Utah. There's Alaska as well. All these different cohorts operate differently, and you just have it is based on the time of the year. They usually happen at the same time around the year. Anyways, so you do that. You do a couple weeks of that, a few months actually, of on some of them, of this VEEP pre-apprenticeship program where you learn and you go through basic technical math. You go through basics of what it is to be an electrician, safety, all this kind of stuff. Really useful things. And you complete it, and you have to, get good scores and everything, and send all this stuff in, and you send it into VEEP, the VEEP program managers, and they get all this, and then they send it to wherever you're going. Wherever you want, let's say you wanted to go live in Washington, right? That's the thing you wanted to do. So a place, an EW location says yes to you. We'll go into that here in a second. They're sending that to them. They've already accepted you. That's great. But what they need is those documentation that yes, you've completed the math course and you did good enough. Yes, you completed the other courses. There's a few other courses in there, all manageable. It's if you've ever taken an online course or any course really in person, you have deadlines, you have grades, all that, but it's not crazy at all. Anywho, right? They accept that, and all this stuff is really satisfying the IBEW's desires that they and needs that they need required and that they want required from the regular people off the street who are doing the interviews and the math aptitude and all that kind of stuff, right? What you're doing is even above and beyond that. It's provided by VEEP. So let's say you finish all of that program, all of it, and you send it in, everything is good to go. Guess what happens? You transition out of the military, and day one, if you'd like, of you being a free man or woman, you can be, and you will, a lot of times, as they say, go work day one, right? You are an apprentice. You will not have to now come back and submit an application. You will not have to do the test, as that's been covered. You will not have to wait and sit in a queue of people for any of this, no interview, all of that. The IBEW really likes to have service members and prior military, right? Because we have done a lot, and we have shown that we handle hardship, adversity, we do safety trainings, we do all of this stuff, right? No matter what your background is, we all have accrued useful skills throughout our time. Now, no matter if you've been in 3-4 years or you've been in 20, right? And they like that, and they're getting probably tax write-offs, and you're getting money that you can send it. All that stuff is secondary. What you've gotten in the military, and the character that the military has given you in a lot of ways, or if you've had it before, honed as it did with me and most of us. That's very useful to the electrician field and to the IBEW. So they love taking us, and they show that by doing it year in year out, right? All the time, like every month, they're getting more and more of us military folk, and they've been doing that for years through the VEEP program. So it's great. It gets you through all of that stuff and directly into the apprenticeship program, the 4 to 5 year program that you get paid to work. It's your new job. It's your new career. Great. You skip all of that. All right, it all sounds great, and it is. However, you know that you are at a deadline. Your contract in the military ends, right? And once that's done, you're out. You're out, and you need to have a job. But you have all these timelines you need to hit before. You don't want to wait until 3 months until you're out of the military before you start going to intoveep.com. You need to be, like me, a year or more out at least. If you do it 6 months out, please do it, but have as much time. If you're 3 months out right now, stop what you're doing and go to intoveep.com. Watch a little bit more of the video to figure out, just to get a little bit more, but you really need to go as soon as possible. As soon as you see this video, you need to set it up. If you're 2 years out, maybe not. You might be too far out, right? I've seen in a thing I'll talk about, if you're too far out, they say, hey, come back. But keep it in your mind, right? Always keep it in mind. Put a deadline, like a year out. Go for it. Anywho, so let's jump into the last bit of it, which is just the primary steps of what you do when you're getting into the program, or you're trying to get to the program. There's only a few steps. So as I said before, there's intoveep.com. You go to it, you go to the military members section, and you can submit an application there. And that you get to choose if you want to be in the inside wireman program or the outside wireman program. The outside wireman program is for those folk who are, again, it sounds intuitive, right? But to be specific, it's those outside wiremen who are outside on the big power lines and are working on those, which is very different from an electrician, an inside wireman. Those are what you think of an electrician, but you're working not only building houses or working in houses on service calls, you're working in hospitals, schools, you're working in airports, anywhere, right? Anywhere, but it's inside typically, is how that's defined. So you pick the inside wireman, and then you pick which cohort, and that is where you pick the type of class, whether that be online only or a mix or in person only, which is decided by the JATC, the location, the training center that is hosting it. So Commerce in LA is the biggest one. They happen multiple times a year. And then San Bernardino, Alaska, Utah. That's what I'm talking about. And they happen infrequently. And you need to be vigilant, right? Because when you submit an application, you are the earlier you submit your application to these cohorts, the better a chance that you will become accepted. Why is that? Okay, so let's say you get the Commerce, the LA, right? The LA class. You see the application is available. Go ahead, please submit it. You're going to put your name, all this kind of stuff, right? And submit. Contact info, all that kind of stuff, right? Submit it, please. LA, 01 that starts in January, the first class of the year. I'm guessing that. I think it's true. I don't know. Anywho, I'm in a different one again, San Bernardino. But you submit it, and then hopefully you were early, right? Hopefully you were early to the game. Let's say that. No matter if you were late, the same process happens. What's going to happen is in the next few weeks, or the same week, or however soon afterwards, you are going to get an email from the VEP program, the managers, or whoever is messaging you, giving you, saying like, great, glad to see you, some information, but also they will be having a conference call with everyone who submitted their application for that cohort, talking about what VEEP is, what's expected of you. Then you will ask questions to them about the program or whatever you need, right? About your specific deadlines, let's say in the military, or what your command needs, that kind of stuff, if you're using SkillBridge. I'm using online only, and I'm not using any SkillBridge. But let's say you're doing in-person only or the hybrid, you might need to have to use SkillBridge. Also, just a sidebar, if you've been out of the military already and you're looking at this, I think you have 5 years. 5 years from your end of active duty service date to also do the VEEP program. So you can be out of the military. I saw many of them who were in the conference call that I was just talking about, who were out of it like 1-2 years kind of thing, but still eligible. So if you're out of the military a few years, continue doing it, please. But you might need to use SkillBridge also, but SkillBridge is not usable by those who are outside of the military. Just to let you know. Anyways, you'll have a conference call with everyone, with the program manager, and have talks, and then in that, very importantly, you will be giving them your top 3 locations that you want to live, that you want to work, the place that you will be training for the next couple of years. Now, how do you know where you want to live? That's based off of you. That's based, by you, but you can't just work in every IBEW location. It's not all available, because only, let's say, I think there's a map, but it's like, I think there's 800 IBEW locations, 800 plus around the world, and maybe 100 of them are available to you to work, because just some places don't have the ability yet. Some are not big enough, right? It's a big program, and you need the space for it, and it's very specific, and you need to have be working with VEEP as well. Not all IBEW programs work with them. Anywho, so they have a map. They'll send you a link, or they'll show you in there the locations. If you can't find it, it's on the Into VEEP website, on the About page in the very beginning. You can click that link. But you take a look and you see where you want to go. Let's say you have your top 3, and you need to list them, not in whatever order, but in the top locations that you want in order. If number 2 says yes and number 1 says yes, they fully expect number 1 to be your choice, right? Okay, so you tell them that. All right, everything is done, but what they're going to tell you is very, very crucial, is that there are limited spots in the program, into that cohort. Not everyone who applies gets in. I think for my San Bernardino course, there were maybe 15 spots for those, 15 to 20, I don't know. It's high teens spots open for San Bernardino Riverside. So the hosting site that hosts the cohort has a large number of spots available. They obviously are hosting it, they're spending the money and the time on it, and they're taking the lion's share of the applicants. But the applicants need to also say, hey, I want to work there. But then they also have, secondly, a limited pool. For mine, there were 10 spots only for those who want to work or live other places. So let's say there are 30 spots open, and at least in my call, there were upwards of 40, 50 applicants, and that was the first call. There was a second call as well that I know of with unknown numbers, and there's usually multiple calls as well in the beginning. So obviously there are more applicants than there are spaces. All right, how do you secure yourself a spot? Simple. I mentioned earlier that you want to submit your application to that specific cohort as early as possible. The reason is because your spot, and let's say how you get into the spot, is determined by when you submit your application. First come, first serve. So for me, I submitted for my first application, which was for the LA class, and I was late. I think I was a week late because I just found out about the program. I got into a conference call, all that, and there was so many people there, and I had to drop out of it for Japan reasons, but I was not confident that I was going to get that. And they tell you straight up that, hey, we have limited spots, and it's all based on how you get on when you submit your application. I wasn't confident at all, but for other reasons, I had to drop. And then I was talking. The program managers there are wonderful, and they will email you and talk with you a lot for any of your questions. And I sent so many questions. I needed to be an electrician. I want to be an electrician, right? So I'm sending emails and emails and emails, and they're responding to all of them with great information. But what he told me, the project manager, the program manager, Greg McMurphy, he told me, hey, but you might not like work out here, but we have an online-only San Bernardino class opening in the next month or so. So keep an eye out. Don't have an exact date, but keep an eye out. So every day I'm going to that application page and looking in cohorts and seeing if it goes on, seeing if it's there. And boom, it showed up one day, got in, and I think I got my application in the first like couple hours, right? At least the first day. So you have to be vigilant, and keep an eye out, because your application that you submit is only good for that cohort. So I needed to submit a second application, and from there, I went through the video conference, and then I was speaking with the VEP program manager. I told him my top 3, and you have to wait. I waited a few months. I waited 2 months from when my video conference ended, which happens pretty soon after the application, to the point where I got my acceptance. And that happens not based off of VEEP. VEEP does everything quickly, and they try as hard as they can. What it's based off of, they send out your stuff immediately, right? What it's based off of is the IBEW location that you are trying to work with. They won't, obviously, the VEEP program will not accept you into their classes until you have an accepting location. They're not going to start you without an end goal, an end place that will accept you. So they hold off, and they're waiting on that location to see your file and say yes to you. And they're not always looking at your file. Usually this happens during their councils. It's a union, right? And they have councils. And those councils usually happen once or twice a month. So you might get lucky and get your application in right before one of those councils and those meetings, or you might get unlucky and miss that window and have to wait another 15, 20 days or longer. And my application was in the holiday season, so you can imagine like Christmas holidays, right? So it was a bit longer. So your timing is not up to you. Just send them in, right? The locations that you want. Places around the country offer more money, but that's again based off of cost of living. So really base it off your family, and they tell you this as well, what your family can support, because you're getting out of the military, right? So do you want to be next to family? Do you have some kind of cushion? Do you have a safety net of some kind? Do you want to go live in some crazy place and you think that'll work for you? Go for it. But whatever works for you, do it. Wait, you're going to sit there and be like me after the video conference and just wait and refresh your email every morning, and every day, waiting for it. And when you finally get it, right, hopefully if you've done everything you can and the stars have aligned, and right, you got your acceptance letter, and they say, great. What you need to do then is, great, you're in the program, and they'll send you your login info and everything, but they will send an application to you with signatures from them, from your accepting location, and then you need to sign it. It'll make a round. It's a document that needs to be signed by a lot of people, and that document is basically saying, like, I will adhere to all the rules of VEEP. I will adhere to all the rules of the IBEW accepting location, and I will do everything, right? Because you'll be drug tested. You know, you have to say, yeah, I intend to work here. It's gonna be, you're not accepting me for nothing, right? So that's that, and then you send it in, and they're gonna mail you. For me, they mail you and probably for most, unless you are in a in-person only. If you're in a hybrid program or an online only program, you're gonna provide your address, and they will send you course material and books and such that you will need for the program. But that's really it. Now you've started, and you start the VEEP class, the online class portion, or you'll go there in person, right? And then for the next few months, you will be working on it as much as you can. Treat it like your future depends on it, right? Treat it like that. You will be graded. If you do not pass, you do not get to be in the IBEW. You will not get that apprenticeship. Treat it like your life depends on it, right? All right. I've been talking long enough. This is just a quick, not so quick maybe, video about the VEEP program, right? And how to get into it, and just the quick steps you need to do, right? And again, why did I do that? And why is it useful to you? I'm an instructor here in Japan, so this is it's what I do with all the classes, what we're required, right? A final. So you need to do this for your future. We all know, and we've all seen those veterans under a bridge with the sign that says, I serve the country, please give me $1. You don't want to be them. They don't want to be there. You don't want to be there. You have families, you have children, you have yourself you need to look after. And the military and the government gives you plenty of opportunities and plenty of resources. We just don't always know about them. This VEEP program is amazing. It's the golden ticket that gets you into your future. And I didn't know about it. And no one knew about it in Japan. They, in fact, asked me to make a whole presentation for them to add to their TAPS class here, right? And I might do that. However, do not, you're adults now. You're in the military. You become an adult in your first few months when you're in, right? Everything is not going to be given to you, and you will fall through the cracks if you don't fight like hell for yourself. And that's what you have to do. Most of you know that. And this is no exception. Keep searching, and you are here, so you have at least done a little bit of searching in YouTube. I did myself, and I found nothing. Nothing at all. So this is for that. This is for you, and hopefully this works out as it did for me, and as it's doing for me. I didn't want to wait. I thought it would be nice to wrap it in a bow when I'm done and working as an electrician and all that. But time is critical. If that IBEW program manager over in Virginia did not tell me about the VEEP program, I would have been too late. The San Bernardino online course happened only once, and if I did not make it, I would not have been able to do the program before I got out of the military. So time is critical. So if I can release it as fast as I can, if I can release this information as fast as I can, it might help someone. And it might be time critical to that one person, right? Then it's worth it. So I'm not trying to count my eggs, right? But I'm not trying to count my chickens, there we go, before the eggs have hatched. Because it's all, I'm still working on the VEEP program. I'm still working and doing the classes, and everything's graded, right? However, it is manageable, it is doable, and it is no longer up to someone else for my future. It's now again back in my hands. And yeah, now it's up to you as well. So you have been given at least the preliminary information now on how to do this program, how to get into it at least, and set yourself up. So stop waiting, get into it, and maybe we'll see each other out there. Peace.